I am purchasing the things that I need to tune this BMW 435xi. It's a little scary, but I think it's just time. Everyone says it's like so grand, so we're gonna find out. And this time, I was making sure it was done with precision. Also, no pun intended, but it just happened. That's the coil packs. We're gonna open it up, see what's in it. I'm hoping that the spark plugs are also in here, but I guarantee they're probably not. So I did go with obviously the NGK, once the Kohler spark plugs, and then the coil packs for these guys because we're doing it, baby. We still are missing a front mounted intercooler, which we do need to go stage 2, but that'll be eventually. I was just really afraid to cut anything. I don't think you need to, but anyways. Oh, I think everything's in here. Maybe not, I don't know. Okay, there's a little business card, cool. Complete kit. We have the coils. I think these are the adapters for the coils. We have a little sticker. And I think these are the coil packs. They are indeed, oh my god, that's so beautiful. What else do we have? Oh, we have the bracketry. Nice. Also, I have zero clue on how to actually install this. I'm talking about the bracketry because, well, you have obviously the adapter here because these guys go to some place, which I'm assuming is probably the coil pack. These go to the plug of the ignition coil. Okay, I'm definitely wrong. This is what I'm saying. I've never installed this before. Okay, adapters of some sort, don't know where they go. The coil packs are going to be set up with probably these guys, but also these guys here, and they only connect via like a little snap-in nipple, so that'll be pretty cool. But I gotta make sure that I have the spark plugs. If I don't have the spark plugs, I can't really do this. These are the spark plugs. Realistically, I don't need to show you what the spark plugs look like because they're just spark plugs. They're by NGK, one step colder. That's it. Fun fact though, this can be used for not only an N54 but an N55, but the spark plugs of an N55 can also be used on an S55, which I believe is an M4, which that block, the S55, is able to hold so much more power to it, so much more reliable, and well, obviously it sounds fucking insane. So I'm rather excited about this. All I have to do is really find my spark plug gap tool, which I know exactly where it is. I just gotta get to it. Then I gotta buy the tune. And this time I was smart. I've created a whole new email and everything just for that, so that way if I ever really decide to sell this thing, I can with the tune. So I'm not 100% certain on every single tool that I need, but I know the majority of them. So firstly, since we're doing the spark plugs, we obviously need a 14 millimeter, this guy. We need the 14 millimeter thin walled socket that's also very flexible. I don't know if you can see that well, but it's moving. I'm gonna break these guys because essentially the spark plugs have to be torqued to, I believe, 25 Newton meters. So we have a torque wrench here that can go easily to 25 Newton meters. So perfect. As well as getting the cylinder 6 out, the easiest way is probably gonna be taking off a lot of this stuff again. So let's pop the trunk here, or I mean the hood. And then this is what I mean. So all this stuff has to come out again. Thankfully, it's not live. I mean, it's just plastic bolts, except for the brace, which that one's never the fun one because I have to get some sort of other gear there that I got to take out again. But it's really just these guys. I end up getting everything off. So you basically saw none of the boring part, which is huge, great, awesome. Glad you didn't see the actual installation of the coils and the spark plugs. So here on the N55, you have to take off all of this. So you're talking about the covers for the air vents, the little foam pad there, the bar, the weather stripping, and then this little shield thing that goes in the very back over there. So now that I got all that, it's really, really hot. The idea is to now research how to do this. That way I can show you guys properly because I want to go big or go home. I didn't want to just like get normal looking spark plugs and coils and call it a day. Since we're messing with electrical stuff, it's always best to unplug the battery, which we're about to do. After that, I'm gonna unplug everything, make sure that everything's all good. So when working on this engine, it was actually stupid hot. The biggest problem was trying to get everything actually off, which obviously, as you can see right now, I'm disconnecting the O2 sensors that are running across the engine block or the aluminum valve cover. And then once those are off, you get full access to the coils and the spark plugs. So this coil is from cylinder 1. I'm not sure if this really should be concerning, but that's a lot of rust. And there's quite a lot of rust actually in that hole too. And this is fucking hot. Holy shit. I do think it's kind of interesting how much rust each cylinder had. Now granted, I could clean that out by using suction, but then I felt like if I use suction, I'd damage something else. And obviously you don't want to blow that into the engine block because then you got other issues there. So I just left it. But let me know in the comments down below if that's a huge issue that I should really be addressing or I'm fine. Okay, this engine way too hot for me to work on right now. So I have taken out the coils and we're going to just let that sit there because even those things were really hot just to touch. Haven't taken out the spark plugs yet. Obviously, I would have set them there. Yeah, wow. Like, it's not even just a hot, it's a really fucking hot type of thing. So once that cools down, we'll get started and everything, but I'm kind of curious to see how everything works here. I guess something that we can do, or I can do here and right now, is probably gap the plugs. So I think we want 0.022 inches of a gap. That's the best that's recommended. That's under 30 pounds of boost. Obviously this thing is not running that much. It's probably running maybe 14 to 16. 16 is the high end. Don't even think I'm reaching there, but it will when it's tuned. Listen, I'm no mechanic, so I finally figured out how the rail is supposed to be, and it's supposed to be just like this. So it's supposed to be flipped. So each coil pack, when you notice, it'll go like this. And it's gonna be facing that way, obviously, to these cylinders. Now, obviously, since this is actual coil packs and not just coils, this here, since this is so organized, and I love being organized, these little clips here are not gonna work anymore because, as you can see, they're in the way of the fuel rail screw. That's right there, and there's 2 of them. Something to note when installing the bracketry for the coil packs is to note that the screws here that lock in the fuel rail to the engine block are the same ones that you use for the bracketry. You don't need to fully take them out. You just need to loosen them enough to slip it in there, because all it is just a slip-on bracket, which you're about to see. Now, if you are someone that is thinking about upgrading the manifold, you might just want to do that first and then do this coil packs. Otherwise, you will have to take off the coil packs again and then somehow shimmy out the manifold. I don't really need to do that right now, and I probably won't need to do that for a while. Or ever. Cross your fingers and knock on wood for that one, please. And again, this is what it should look like. I gotta stop burning my hand on this guy. That's exactly how it should look. So again, I'm not a fan of deleting stuff, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Just for organization purposes, really. And probably to get it off the hot fuel rail there, but at least it's not like super hot like it gets like the engine block. I'm sure that's way worse, so sucks, but I'm gonna still keep them. I'm not gonna destroy them or throw them away just in case I have to revert back to stock, but that's how it should look. I really wish I could have gotten that in blue, but I guess it offsets the color a little bit. Now obviously when engine upgrades are done and like fully to the point where I'm happy, I'm gonna get some dress up bolts and everything like that so that way the engine looks really cool. Now installing the coil packs onto the rail that it comes with, or the bracketry that it comes with, is actually super easy. Just make sure that you're doing 1 screw at a time, that way it doesn't fall into the engine bay and you have a full complete set of screws nailing down each coil pack. The only problem is, and what you're about to see is indeed a situation that I run into that I am not happy about, but it's fine. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, I ain't good. So you see how all these are on and secured? They look beautiful. Here are the couple reasons why sometimes aftermarket stuff really pisses me off because half of it says it's supposed to be an OEM location, and it is, truthfully, but you do have to eliminate some stuff. Like my taillights right now, I had to cut a piece of plastic off that was on the mount, which is fine, whatever, it doesn't really matter that much. This thing, it looks like it's another mount. If you look here, this guy's really not that important, and let me tell you why. This guy here, if I cut it down there, I think this is just one solid piece of plastic until I get to the actual manifold, so obviously I'm trying not to get to that point. So the little nipple or the mount that I'm actually pointing to that's in the way of putting the coil pack down is actually for the engine cover, which I don't even use. It's hollow, so you can cut it, and all you have to do is cut it from the tip down to about a 1/2 inch. But then another thing is, if you do like to use this little foam piece, throw it away, because you won't ever be able to fit it when you're using coil packs. So another thing too is that before cutting things, which I know we're gonna have to cut that nipple off, and actually that nipple is hollow, so I'll show you this on the other side. This guy, completely hollow. That could not be a better thing. And given that I don't like to cut things off, like I mentioned prior, I want to call backup.
What's up, my boy?
Yo, I think I'm gonna have to cut something. I know for a fact I'm gonna have to cut something.
What the fuck could you need to cut?
You're about to see, because there's two things. So this little nipple, because it's in the way of the coil pack being put down.
What coil pack is that? The third one?
Fourth one.
Alright, let me look that up. Hold on.
I mean, it's literally just a hollow nipple, which is fine. I can cut it, not a problem. It's about 1/2 inch from the top of the manifold, and it looks fucking nice.
That does look really fucking good, dude. I ain't gonna lie. That's clean.
Yeah, it's also super easy to install. So, second thing is, I don't know if this is super important, but I think it is, especially for the heat shielding to the O2 sensors. So I'm assuming, since
Heat shielding kind of a bunch of bullshit, to be honest with you.
So I don't need this, or should I just use it and cut it out? Because I would need to cut a little bit of this guy.
If you want to use it, you can, but you don't need it. I ran no heat shielding on my B58 at all.
And now that I got a majority of that nipple removed, it was time to put on the 4th cylinder coil pack. Now that I got the bracketry secured and the coil pack secured, it was time to take out the OEM spark plugs and see how bad they really were. Well, I could definitely tell these are stock because these are Bosch by BMW. These are all good too, actually, so I might be able to sell them for something. So now it was time to use my spark plug gap tool and measure out the gap for the new NGK one-step coulter plugs. Again, I'm trying to go for a 0.022 inches. And once all 6 spark plugs were gapped to that 0.022 inches, I went ahead, screwed them in by hand, then torqued each one to 23 Newton meters. Now what I'm about to do is implement the coil pack system. So this is going to include the coils with their wire, and then the wire that actually attaches to the coil lines that attach to the actual electrical system of the car to the coil pack. It's cool. Watch this. All I gotta say is this looks damn good. Coil pack's 100% worth it. All these things flush in there. They're super nice and well made. I can tell. Nice, dude. This is just checking to make sure all those coils are in there. Nicely done. Perfect. Believe it or not, I was actually gonna do a N55 to B58 coil by Vargas Turbo Technologies, and a lot of people were actually recommending not to do those because their products are so cheap. Granted, I don't know them, I've never had them, so can't really speak on them. But Precision Raceworks, absolutely 110% amazing. So I went with them. Next things to tune, which you'll see tomorrow. Now listen, the total time to actually install all this is about about, I would say 30 to 45 minutes, depending on if you've done it or not. Obviously, for me, it took about 2 hours because I've been filming. So I don't want you guys to get scared if you do this yourself, but God, it looks sexy.